Well, I think, friends, this will be my last video for this trip, as I don't think I will film flying back, and Saturday was spent just hanging out, enjoying Yorkshire, and just quite generally having a fantastic day. If you want to watch me going back, may I suggest watching day one in reverse? Wouldn't that be funny if I actually did that? I probably would do that to all of you, actually. Anyway, on to the day at hand. Having had breakfast of Aga toast, we drove from Thorpe to Bramham Park and then onwards afterwards to Harewood. I've slowed down a little clip here in the meantime of one of my absolute favourite drives. I just love the canopy that the trees create over the road. It's absolutely magical, and even better when the sun is shining through them and you've got the sun kind of glistening on the road through the trees and all of the different shapes and patterns it makes on the road. But there we go, just nice to watch. So we arrived at Bramham and we used the wrong entrance for Bramham. We used the service entrance as opposed to the actual entrance, but you'll get to see both. Lucky you. The tour of Bramham was delightful. We got there an hour early for our tour, and so Mum and I managed to get a little look through the gardens. Paul, the estate manager, was very pleased with himself as he'd gotten a fountain working yesterday that had not worked in about 10 years. So well done, Paul. You can pat yourself on the back for that. And then he also took us through a section of the house, you could say, that connects to the main house, the estate office to the main house, that had recently been used to film a scene set in Jamaica. So that'd be quite fascinating to see all of the different ways people imagine these spaces could be, and how to use them by adding palm trees or just, making little changes to them. Bramham is actually still a privately owned stately home, from what I understand. They hold festivals on the lawn, horse trials, and are used really often, like I said, as a filming location for various projects that do help to generate income to keep the estate running without having to open the house to the general public on a daily basis, such as the others we have visited, like Newby, Harewood, which we will visit, all of them, or even turning them into a hotel like Grantley, and the other one escapes me, but you know what I mean. So it's nice to kind of see that it's still in the same family who's owned it for as long as time can remember. But they do require you, when you go for a tour, you have to book as a group, and I think you have to book as a minimum of 10. And they also don't book tours in August, and Mom and I usually go in August. So it was actually really nice to go in May when they can accommodate doing house tours. So there we go. Paul took us through into the Great Hall, and then Nick met us in the Great Hall. We talked about the history of the house, lots of little factoids and tidbits, and all these things Nick was telling us was just so adorable. Some of the family history, things that have happened to the house, all sorts of things I'll tell you as we get along here. We moved into the library, which was decorated by Laura Ashley. What a color combination that was. It was kind of a ruby red silk wallpaper, and then a very kind of a light sagey green bookshelves and accents and things. But they did get the room decorated by Laura Ashley as part of a publicity campaign. So Laura Ashley decorated the room and then used it in their advertisement for what they could do for your decorating in your home. Then we moved onto the dining room. There were a few really cute stories about the dining room. The gold charger plates, the previous estate manager hadn't realized they were gold and had polished them with Brasso, so they were looking rather tarnished. And I think there was an original set of about 24 and they were down to maybe 12 or 14. So things have kind of got lost over the years, you could say. And Nick also collects place card holders. I said I'd trade him his cute little chalice wine goblet ones for my teapot ones, but he seemed to want to keep his chalice ones instead, so that's fine. Then we moved into the sitting room, which is used in the movie The Greatest Hour as Winston Churchill's sitting room at 10 Downing Street. And it is used as a room in the miniseries Victoria as well. I keep meaning to watch that scene. I'll have to watch it. Then it was through onto the ballroom, and stunning ballroom. There's a funny story in a minute about the ballroom. And then we went into the family stairwell. Just the sheer number of paintings that were in the stairwell, it's amazing. They've got room for them all, but there isn't an inch of space left to hang any more portraits or pictures or anything like that. And you can very much tell that the Lane Foxes were very much into hunting and outdoor pursuits based on these paintings. Luckily, too, and a sheer surprise, we were shown downstairs to the games room, which I think it was either Nick's or Nick's grandparents' day, was used as the cafe when the house was previously open to the public, but now had the perfectly sized pool table in it, followed by coffee in the ballroom, which such a treat. I think this was a little special thing because the tour that Mum and I were tacked onto was a tour of people, like curators, that had come from another stately home, so they were kind of trading tips back and forth and sharing names of who they got to come and do French polishing and who restored this, and just some really interesting trade secrets, I suppose. Not really trade secrets, but, you know, a bit like painting and decorating on a much grander scale and using recommendations from friends. So that was very fun. I was waffling there a bit, so here I'm back. Interestingly enough, the house had escaped being decorated in the Victorian style, as it had stood empty from 1868 to 1906 after a fire destroyed the roof. They tried getting a lot of the furniture out, but they started with the recently delivered billiard table, and it got stuck in the front door. So anything that did get out of the house during the fire had to go over the billiard table and was tossed on the front lawn. Local militia was called to guard the contents of the house on the front lawn because things were getting taken, and the Lane Foxes were then, several years later, given back some of the items taken from the lawn as wedding gifts, most notably of which were a set of chairs with the Lane Fox crest on them. Could you imagine getting a stolen item back as a wedding gift? Oh, what fun. Anyways, and then in 1906 the restoration work began, and it is truly a family home. There was a football/soccer net on the front driveway, family pictures in the library and in the sitting room. We were made to feel so at home, and unlike any of the other stately homes where you're very strictly, reminded with a teasel or a piece of holly not to sit on any of the furniture, we were welcome to sit on the furniture and lean and just really very much make ourselves at home, which was very nice, very kind of him. Very unlike all the other ones. It was just mind-boggling, but great fun. The stone in the Great Hall was brought up a couple of times, as it has been admired by several interior decorators over the years, and it's still in great condition considering everything it's been through. But the interior decorators are always asking, how have you got it such an extraordinary color? And the response is, well, have a fire, repair, and then have some leaking roofs, and then have another fire, and don't have a roof for 30 odd years, and have it exposed to all of the different elements. And this is the effect you get on your stonework. But maybe the interior decorators will come up with a faster method of getting the same effect. Who knows? The other awesome story was about the 3 chandeliers in the ballroom. They were ordered late 1913, early 1914, and were crated up in Italy to be shipped up to Bramham. And we all know what happened in 1914, and the 3 chandeliers were never delivered. Until one day in 1919, 3 crates showed up on the doorstep, and it was the 3 chandeliers in them, in perfect order, nothing missing, nothing damaged. Just they'd sat on the docks in England for the entirety of the war, and then finally got delivered when it was over. So it's amazing all of the different tidbits that Nick had to share with us. And yeah, then it was off to Harewood. I haven't put a lot of history in about Bramham and when it was originally built or any of that stuff. I believe in your Googling skills. I believe in your Googling skills. Same with Harewood. I believe in your Googling skills. When we left Bramham, we came upon another magical red traffic light that never actually turned green. It must be me that traffic lights don't like turning green for in the UK, possibly. Who knows? Anyways, then it was off to Harewood House, which is another great example of Robert Adams' decorating style. Unfortunately, one of the ladies of the house got her hands on one of the ceilings during the Victorian age and removed the original Robert Adams ceiling and replaced it with something not nearly so breathtaking as the other ceilings in Harewood. I don't take a picture of this ceiling. If you want to, I'm sure you can find it if you need to, but no, it just does nothing for me. Well, it's a gorgeous ceiling, but it doesn't come anywhere near as close to what Robert Adam would do with the ceiling. So there we go. The rest of the room is pretty much unchanged from the way it was decorated by Mr. Adam. In all honesty, if you ever cannot find me for a prolonged period of time, I'm either on a sun lounger, admiring all of Adam's ceilings throughout the United Kingdom. You do need to take your own sun lounger, I think, to fully appreciate them. I'm going to put in a request that they put sun loungers in the room so you can admire them without getting a crick in your neck. I think that would be a perfect way to spend the day. Or, alternatively, I am trapped on some scaffolding trying to recreate these ceilings for myself. So, there you go. Those are our options. The red and gold drapes that you see in the long gallery room, interestingly enough, are not made of fabric. They were originally installed this way and are carved out of wood, so they will never fray or age the same way that fabric would, and they are so high up that genuinely unless you know that they are made out of wood, you wouldn't even deign to think they'd be made out of wood. So I guess you're going to pause the video now and inspect them for yourself, which I completely understand and support you doing. Harewood as well has a very remarkable zoo-like entertainment area, if you will. Penguins, rabbits, llamas, goats, pigs, guinea pigs, Chilean flamingos, a lake of swans, which obviously don't belong to Harewood because they belong to the Queen, and a variety of exotic bird species are kept on the grounds of Harewood, and so you really could spend an entire day there if you were so inclined. Then it was back off to Thorpe with some more drone flying, dinner at the Red Lion, fruitcake at the Manor House, and toffee vodka to finish out the evening. So there you go. What a perfectly sublime day. And I've just decided to tack on a couple of pictures of day 14 for you, and then I can call this video day 13 and 14 and be mostly alright with that because 13's not good. Anyways, it was a fabulous day of relaxing, giggling, aga toast making, the last plate of fish and chips for this trip, my first dandelion and burdock for this trip, and just a very easy, happy, grand day out and about. Enjoy, and I hope you enjoy the skyline there for a bit. Anyways, friends, it's been an absolute delight entertaining you with my shenanigans. Hopefully it won't be another 2 years before I do another one, and possibly I'll go somewhere else in the meantime, or some different places in the UK, or not. Yorkshire never gets old, and I still need to find my way about without silly Sally sat-nav, although I'm not sure that is ever going to happen. Good night, friends. Farewell. Don't be a stranger. Ta-ra!